Blind Beauty with Shelby Travers.
Eyeshadow is the time to let your creative juices flow. Although I found it to be the most tough thing to learn, there are some tips and tricks that I have learned that I'm going to share with you that can help you in just making that process a little bit easier to learn. Whether it be color placement or correct tools to use, it'll make it a lot easier. You can have some creativity, use different colors, go with it. But as far as different tools to use and where color placement should go are the things that are really going to make things easier for you and what I'm going to go through with you right now. So yes, eyeshadow is all about creativity, but there's going to be these tips and tricks, like I said, that will help you for getting a consistent, blended, seamless look. That's the goal. The first thing to note is that you like to use a transition color. Often this can be seen as some sort of light brown that will emulate the shadow of your skin, similar to contouring. You will want to use a round, fluffy brush for this, place it in the crease, and use windshield wiper motions to blend the color out. It's always best to hold the end of the brush as well, because then you're not going to put too much pressure. This application is not about packing color down. It's about blending things through so that the other colors that you place on later will blend easier. The next thing you're going to want to use is a packer brush. This is going to help deposit the color onto your eye. You're going to use packing motions, like the brush name says, and pat it onto the eyelid. You can really use any color, so let your creative juices flow. After the packer brush, you're going to want to use a tapered fluffy brush. It's similar to the brush you used in your crease for the transition color, but it's got more of a pointed edge to it. This color is going to go directly into your crease, into that little socket that you feel in your eye. For this color, you're going to want to use really any color, once again, that matches with the color scheme that you're going for, but in a deeper, darker tone, because you're really going to try and create the shadow with this. Once again, pat on and make circular windshield wiper motions. From there, you're going to want to use a fluffy packer brush. I know, it gets so confusing at this point. This is something that you're going to deposit a color onto your lower lash line. A lot of people like to use this space to have fun with color, whether it be bright blues, a green, or keeping it simple with a brown. This is where you can really just get creative with it without going too over the edge. Sometimes if you put blue all on your eyelid, it can be a little intense, so have fun with the lower lash line. Only 2 more steps. I know it's a lot. The next one you're going to want to use is a dome-shaped flat brush. This is going to deposit color onto your brow bone and your inner corner. And you're going to want to use a highlighting color, so think of creams and something lighter in tone. You can use some shimmer. I try and not do too much so that it doesn't overpower from the look I did on my eye. So you're going to deposit the color onto the tip of the brush, run it underneath your eyebrow, and then pack it on the flat side of the brush and put it on your inner corner. You can use different brushes for this, but I find it easier because we've already got a lot of brushes going on. Finally, you're going to want to use an angled liner brush. This is where you can use a black, a brown, well, I guess really any color to deposit onto your lash line. So you're going to run the color on the flat side of the brush on the very top, and then run it along the upper lash line. I like to make a little bit of a flick at the end to give that cat eye appearance. I find it's flattering to the shape of my eyes because I have almond shaped eyes. If you're really feeling like you need something at the end of the day, add some shimmer on. I like to use shimmers with my finger. I find the warmth of it helps create the pigments a little bit brighter, and it's very simple to use. And just like that, the eyeshadow is complete. Today I went for kind of like a rosy toned eyeshadow look with a little bit of sparkle. Always remember that eyeshadow, like every other bit of makeup, is meant to be fun. Have fun with it. Remember, it can always be washed off at the end of the day.